Good afternoon to respected Jagan sir and Soma. It is very pleasant to me to introduce these intellectuals. We have an opportunity to interact with them. They are living in USA. Their mother tongue is his mother tongue is English, and we have opportunity to learn more things, especially way of pronunciation, usage, and education system and schooling and other things we may share with him. Now I request Jagan sir to say a few words about introducing this session.
I know many of you. In fact, I think I know most of your names than any of your teachers. I can say that. I can say that, but I know a lot of you by name. I met you, I spoke to you, I know your families. So it gives me a great pleasure to be back here. This is the longest I haven't come to the school. It's 1.5 years. Most of the time I come every year. Last year we didn't come to India, so it gives me great pleasure to see all faces that are familiar to me. I know Usha really well, she runs. I know Hasini, friends, almost all of you I met in one way or the other. I spoke to you, so it gives me a great pleasure to be back here. My nephew, he's really fond of books. When he was growing up, I think he came to the US when he was a little kid. He was 2 years old. So he used to speak Telugu fluently. ఎంత బాగా మాట్లాడుతుండేవాడంటే ఇంగ్లీష్ కాదు తెలుగులోనే మాట్లాడతాను జీవితాంతం అనుకునేవాడు. But I think at that time he was diagnosed with cancer. So as a kid he had cancer. And then when he was in India, they didn't give him much of a chance of surviving. They thought he would die. So they thought he would die within a couple of years. But luckily at that very moment he came to the US, and the medical system in the US is so much better than here that he made it. Even there the chances were only 1 in 5, and if 5 such patients come to them, only 1 would survive, 4 would die. But he is 1 in that 5. So he survived cancer. When he was 5, when he was 7, he was said, okay, you don't have cancer anymore. And now he's planning to become a doctor. So he needs to study for 2 more years, at which point of time he'll become a doctor. And as I said, one of his loves is reading books. So he and his sister used to come to where I live. We live 2.5 hours per flight. In the US, everything is far. It takes 2.5 hours to go by flight. For him to come to my place, it takes 2.5 hours. But they used to come on flight on their own without their parents. And it's not easier to fly in the US than in India without parents. So obviously you come from, it's not as harder than coming from Mukandapuram to here or going from here. It's fairly easy to fly there. So they used to come, most of the time they used to spend in bookshops. And every time they used to go back, they used to take these many books. From where I live, I live in a place called Houston. They live in a place called St. Louis. So they used to fly there, and all they used to take back is books. They read a lot of books. My dad read maybe 400, 500 books. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce my nephew, Soma. Soma, the stage is yours. And he's only 21, so he's a little older than you. So just became an adult. Adult is 21 years, at which you can start drinking. So he just turned 21, and then within a couple of years, if he continues his studies, he will become a doctor. The stage is yours.
Hi everyone. I didn't, I would be in the same class with all of you. So, um, by answering your questions and telling my stories, I hope I can, in part, give you some of the wisdom that I had the opportunity to learn from the US, so that you guys can learn it here and you can apply it in everyday life, so that you can study hard, work hard, and have a good life, good career, and go to a good college, and maybe come to the US.
Thanks for the introduction. Now let's go open to questions. Ask not only the questions that the teachers gave, you can ask other questions too. Okay? If you have any questions.
What are the timings of high school?
So, in general, it depends from school to school. So, my high school, in my high school, classes started at 8:30 in the morning, and they ended at 3. They ended at 3. So 8:30 to 3, we had classes with half-hour lunch from 11:30 to 12.
And the lunch you take it from home or?
No. Here you can go home for lunch. There, you go to the school cafeteria, and you either bring your lunch from home already, or you buy lunch from the cafeteria.
How much it costs?
There, lunch costs $3, so some 240 rupees for lunch. It sounds expensive here, but for $3 in the US, it's very cheap for an entire lunch. So, yeah, in between 8:30 and 3, we would have 7 classes to attend. And then some students also had the option to come in 1 hour early and take an 8 class. So some students took 8 classes or 8 subjects, some took 7.
And what is the difference between those two? Did you take 7 or 8?
8.
Okay. So I used to go to
So I used to go an hour early in the mornings because I used to play the saxophone. It's an instrument like the clarinet. So I would go in 1 hour early and I would play my saxophone for an hour in music class. So I took an extra music class in the morning just for fun. I enjoyed playing music.
Another question.
Please tell me something about homeworks and project works in university.
Loudly.
So she asked for me to tell her some things about homework and what homework in the US is like and what the projects are like. Homework in the US is pretty similar to the homework here. It is like the homework here. You'll have if you have math problems, you'll do 2 pages of whatever you're learning currently at school. So homework is similar. Sometimes you'll have readings. So the teacher will assign you a book, and they expect you to read some have a quiz over it to make sure that you actually read the book you were supposed to. And then after, they will have a discussion. Because by reading the book, they don't only want you to read the book, they also want you to understand what the book is trying to tell you. Because a lot of the homework there is similar to here, but the reason they talk about it after in depth, as they do here, is because the book has some meaning to it. The person who wrote the book wrote it for some specific reason. And so when you read the book and you discuss the book afterwards, you understand what message the book writer is trying to give to you. And projects, the projects in the US are more for creativity. They're more fun. The reason we do them is so that you can, by doing homework, you're only writing on a piece of paper. But by doing a project, you have to interact with the idea of the subject more than just a piece of paper. You have to build something, or you have to make a presentation, or you have to write an essay, because that forces you to think about whatever you are currently learning in a more significant way. So instead of doing the homework one night, going to school, then doing different homework the next night, the project is many days focused on one thing, and the entire time you have to think about that project itself. So a lot of the things here are similar, but the way they do it there, they have a little bit more freedom in their expression. So when that happens, the students who care about the work can have a better idea of what they're learning. They explore it more, and they can, because when you touch something versus when you see something is a lot different. If I showed a picture of an apple every day for an entire year, it's not the same as if I gave you an apple to hold and to see what it actually is. You gain a better understanding when you're involved with what you're doing.
Next question.
Does that answer your question? Does that answer your question?
Did you want to know more? Anything else about homework? Okay.
But are you getting an idea? Are you understanding most of the words?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Suggest some tips to improve language skills.
English language skills.
Okay. So some tips to improve English language skills. The best way to improve English, or just any language, is to talk in that language as much as possible. But you should talk to someone who is fluent in English, because when you talk to them in English, they know if you make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, they know how to correct it. But if someone doesn't know that you made a mistake, or they don't know what mistakes you're making, they can't help you improve. So that's number one way. But it's not not everyone has someone fluent in English that they can talk to every day. So the second best way is to watch as much English TV shows, music, videos. You should get an idea of how other people who natively speak English are speaking English. So the reason you would talk to me to learn English is because I'm a native English speaker. And that's the same reason you would watch English documentaries, English movies, English TV shows, because they all speak native English. So the more you watch that content, the better idea you have of what they're saying in English. Even now, I understand some Telugu, but when I watch a movie here, I don't understand every single thing they're saying. But because I know some Telugu and I can see what they're doing, I can put words I don't know in Telugu to some idea that's going on in the movie. So if someone in English says, let's get in the car, and you have no idea what that means, but then after they say that, they get inside of a car, you have some idea that these words are associated with each other. And you'll also pick up how they pronounce words. Because it won't sound right to you. Like when you repeat it in English, it will sound right to you. But when you compare it to a native English speaker, you'll have a better idea of how to correctly pronounce the word. Beyond the best way to learn anything is to spend as much time with it as possible. So you can't learn English perfectly just by doing the bare minimum. You have to put in effort because English isn't common. So to learn something that's from somewhere else, you have to put in more effort.